If you're already buckled down into the cozy fall season, just chilling on the couch with your pumpkin spice latte, and your sole ambition is to wait it out for a couple of more weeks until you get to start decorating for Christmas, then this episode may not be for you. But if you're like me, on the other hand, and you feel the year racing to a close, while there still are so many things that you were hoping to accomplish this year, you know the old saying, so many goals, so little time, then don't despair, because I have the perfect 3-step strategy to help us both finish strong. Stay tuned. Hey there, beautiful dreamer. Welcome back to the Timeless Truths podcast. I'm so glad you made the choice to stick around. I promise you'll be so thankful that you did. So, I made a bold confession to a group of friends the other day, which may have blacklisted me in their eyes. This is not necessarily my favorite time of year. I don't get excited about all the PSL drinks in all the places, and not a lot of sweaters and boots in our wardrobe because, let's be real, I live in South Texas, and somebody forgot to give the weather the memo that this is supposed to be snuggly sweater weather. So I guess for me, it's hard to relate to what all the hype is about. Now, when we start talking countdown to Christmas, count me in. That is actually one of my favorite times of year. But it's also the time of year that I want to focus on family and baking and creative gift making. So unless I'm intentional in the next couple of months, I will actually have less time to enjoy the most wonderful time of the year. And then that got me thinking, what if there's someone else out there that's not kicking their boots up drinking all the lattes? And they're starting to feel the impending stress of everything they have left unaccomplished on the back burner. Well, if that's you, I'm here for you. And I'm going all in over the next few weeks to help you finish strong with a couple of big wins. Seriously, can you believe we're already in the final stretch of the year? Because it feels like time has just flown by. But here's the good news. It's not too late to make some meaningful progress. So, let's talk about how to finish strong, how to redeem the time that's actually left, and to be intentional in these last few months so that when the year does end, you can look back and truly feel proud of what you've accomplished. Maybe like me, you started this year with some really big dreams, but somewhere along the way, life got busy. Trust me, that's been true for most of us. But let this episode be your gentle reminder, as well as a little challenge, that the year is not over yet. There is still time for us to show up, to refocus, and to still finish strong. Okay, remember I promised you a 3-step strategy? Well, here's number 1. Ask yourself, where am I now? Before we jump into setting new goals, we're going to take a moment and pause and reflect. So, break out with your planner or journal and ask yourself these questions. What has gone well this year? What things have you accomplished that you're proud of, big or small? And then, what areas or goals have been neglected or need a little more attention or tweaking? Something that you'll hear me say so often. In fact, I learned this game-changing practice from business leader Michael Hyatt. Because the fact is, we're usually so focused on what we didn't do that we forget to celebrate what we did accomplish. We want to celebrate and then recalibrate. So definitely celebrate the goals that you have achieved so far this year. Now, think back on the remainder of your goals from earlier in the year. Which ones still matter to you? Which ones are you still passionate about that are worth revisiting right now? And here's a little healthy habit to practice. Instead of thinking, the year is almost over, remind yourself, we still have 2 months left. which gives us several weeks to make an impact. That's plenty of time to finish with focus. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about being a good steward of the time we have left. In fact, that reminds me of the parable about the talents in the Bible, where Jesus encouraged us, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest or not a good steward with the very little will also be dishonest with much. That's found in the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 10. So you may be thinking, Carolina, what's a few weeks? Well, if he can trust us with very little time, I think we owe it to him to be intentional with what time we have left. Which brings me to step number 2. Identify what you would like to be your finish strong goals and choose which ones matter most to you. Because now that you've reflected over what still matters to you and what you want to pursue, it's time to narrow your focus. And for some reason, if you didn't take the time to do the reflection questions, for example, if you're listening to this in your car right now, I would encourage you to pull it up on YouTube when you get home and sit down with your journal and take this exercise seriously, because God wouldn't have put those dreams and desires in your heart for no reason. So let's take this as serious as he takes us. Okay, now that we've done that, I want you to pick 2 or 3 major goals, no more than that, which, if accomplished, would make you feel like you succeeded and truly finished this year well. Maybe it's something personal, like creating a consistent morning routine, or finishing that book on your nightstand that you've been reading for a few months. Maybe it's professional, like launching a project, updating your website, which I'm currently doing, or finally reaching out to that big client. Maybe it's a spiritual or relational goal, like spending more intentional time with your family, or going deeper in your spiritual disciplines. In the last episode, we talked about alignment, and the key here is to focus on what aligns with your current season. What matters most to you right now? Because remember, you don't need to do everything. You just need to do the things that are right for the season you're living in right now. And that brings us to number 3, our strategy, or how to actually redeem the time, which translates as, how do we actually make this happen? First of all, break it down into small, actionable steps. Take each of your 2 to 3 goals and map out all the steps you'll need to accomplish for each week. For example, if your goal is to finish an online course, how many lessons will you have to complete each week until the end of the year? Or if your goal is to improve your physical health, set a realistic goal, maybe walking 20 minutes 3 times a week. And then create accountability. Tell someone what you're working on, a friend, your spouse, or even your online community, maybe even me. But please don't skip this step. Accountability turns intention into action. Third, schedule your action steps with intentionality. Block out time in your calendar for these goals. Treat them like appointments with the same importance as you would a work meeting. Because if it's not scheduled, subconsciously you feel like it's optional. And your goals, your dreams, they deserve better. They are not optional. Finally, protect your focus. This means saying no to distractions that pull you off course. Even good things that aren't what you're pursuing right now. Remember, you can't do everything, but you can do what matters most if you stay focused. Which brings me to our timeless truth, which is, a year from now, you may wish you would have started today. And remember, this isn't about feeling shame or regret. I truly want you to hear my heart behind this theme of finishing strong. Here's what I want you to take away. Finishing strong isn't about working harder and longer. It's about living with intention. Maybe this year hasn't gone the way you've hoped. Maybe you've had setbacks or seasons that slowed you down. Beautiful dreamer, that's been true for so many of us. But what matters most is how you choose to show up now. Every action step you take from here on counts. especially the small, consistent ones, because consistency adds up. I love the phrase redeem the time. It reminds me that time is a gift and how we use it matters. So give yourself grace for the past few months and what we feel like we didn't do, and then give yourself permission to move forward with focus, faith, and with purpose. You still have time to make this year count. Okay, beautiful dreamer, here's this week's challenge so we can finish strong together. Step 1, remember, reflect and reset your mindset. Step 2, choose 2 or 3 meaningful goals that align with what matters most right now. And step 3, make a plan, schedule it, and stay accountable to someone. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And if you'd like a little help mapping this out, I'm hosting a free live webinar soon, just for my listeners. If you would like more information on that, just fill out the contact form and the link is in the show notes. Let me know you would like an invitation with the dates, etc. I'd love to hear from you. What's one goal you're committing to before the end of the year? Send me a message on Instagram at carolina.sizemore. Or tag me in your stories so I can cheer you on. You've got this. Let's finish this year strong, together. Remember our timeless truth? A year from now, you may have wished you started today. Because your God-given dreams deserve to be pursued and accomplished so that you can truly believe that happily ever after isn't a lie.